Hi, welcome. Come on in.
Thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good. What's your
Good.
favorite thing about your tiny house?
Ooh, probably all my treasures that I finally got to display.
How long did it take to build?
About 4 months.
Okay. What's the inspiration for this wall here?
This wall, religious exploration.
Okay. What about that ship?
Ooh, so my husband and I picked up this painting, or this print, I should say, on our honeymoon in Plymouth. It's not the Mayflower, but it is the Flying Cloud.
What's the first book you remember reading and how did it impact you?
Ooh, I think Pilgrim's Progress. That book really freaked me out as a child.
How do you choose which books to read next?
Well, right now I'm on a Dostoevsky binge, so I'll usually pick up what I need to read next from him, and then just kind of go with what I'm feeling, or if I see a reference to a book in another book, I will just go down that rabbit trail.
Describe your favorite reading spot or environment.
Somewhere that's warm, cozy, and quiet.
What genres do you tend to gravitate towards?
History and classics.
Do you prefer physical books, ebooks, or audiobooks?
Oh, physical books for sure. Once in a while I'll listen to an audiobook if I'm going on a long road trip or something, but I don't like ebooks. I can't read off the screen.
Can you recall a book that changed your perspective on life?
Peter Pan.
How do you feel about annotating or writing in books?
Ooh, I think it's a great practice, but something that I don't do enough.
What do you enjoy most about the process of writing?
I think immersing myself in an entirely different world. Come on in.
Describe your writing routine or habits.
Ooh, I don't really have a routine. I kind of just go with the flow, but I never sit down to write without a cup of coffee or tea.
Do you prefer writing by hand or by typing?
Notes by hand, novel manuscript by typing.
What themes or motifs often appear in your writing?
Self-discovery.
Who are your literary influences?
Oh, so many. Fitzgerald, Joyce, Dostoevsky, C.S. Lewis, Steinbeck.
How do you handle writer's block or creative slumps?
I'll read more, or I'll watch movies about writers and writing that really inspire me.
Okay. What do you hope your readers will take away from your writing?
I hope they'll see the only comfort in life and death.
Have you considered writing under a pen name?
I have considered it, but I don't think I'm going to. The debate now is whether to use my maiden name or my married name.
How do you balance research and creativity when writing historical fiction?
Ooh, well, if I'm writing history, it's going to be very research heavy, but my novel that I'm writing right now is actually ahistorical, so I don't have to do the historical research and get bogged down in the details.
What draws you to the study of history?
Stories of the world and the stories of the people who live in it.
Are there any historical figures or events you feel personally connected to?
Yeah, Abraham Kuyper and the formation of the Free University in Amsterdam.
Describe your approach to conducting historical research.
I don't have a specific approach. It kind of differs from project to project, and I'll admit I'm not always super organized.
Do you have a favorite time period or region of history to study?
Oh yes, I love religious history, whether that's the history of Christianity or Islam. I also love the age of exploration, the colonial periods, that kind of thing. 20th century history, also love it.
How do you feel about historical accuracy versus creative liberties in storytelling?
Well, if I'm telling a story that's historical, I gotta stick to the historical facts. You can't go wrong with that. But I think that you are free to take creative liberties with the gaps.
What do you believe is the importance of preserving and studying history?
Ooh, self-knowledge and accountability.
Have you ever visited a location because of its historical significance?
That's all I do when I travel.
What do you find the most fascinating about the writing process?
How it differs for everyone.
How do you balance your love of reading with other responsibilities?
Well, I make reading a priority next to cooking and cleaning.
Can you recall a moment when you knew you wanted to be a writer or historian?
Ooh, I wanted to be a writer pretty much since I was able to write, but I didn't want to be a historian until grade 10.
How do you think your background or experiences shape your writing style?
Immensely, given that I tend to center my writing in the Netherlands and bring out a Reformed Protestant perspective.
Do you prefer writing fiction or nonfiction?
Fiction.
How do you approach character development in your writing?
I tend to make my characters as real as possible, but I often exaggerate their traits.
What do you hope to achieve with your writing research in the long term?
Well, I would love to be considered a credible historian with something valid to add to the discussions. and I'd love for my novels to become classics.
How do you think technology has influenced the way we read and write?
Hashtag booktube.
Do you have a favorite literary or historical quote?
Yes. He stepped down, trying not to look at her as if she were the sun, but he saw her like the sun, even without looking. That's Leo Tolstoy from Anna Karenina.
What advice would you give to aspiring writers or historians?
I'm more in the stage of getting advice rather than giving it, but just do what you love.
Can you describe a particularly memorable experience you've had related to books or history?
Well, when I was in grade 10, I wrote a historical fiction novel on Wattpad, since it's since been deleted.
How do you think your writing and historical work reflects your values and beliefs?
Oh, immensely. I hope in a subtle way, but it's very much there.
What do you consider to be your greatest strength as a writer or historian?
My passion. Can I make you a coffee?
Sure.
Okay.
How do you feel about the rise of self-publishing and independent research?
I don't know a lot about it, but I worry that it's gonna threaten standards.
How do you approach the editing process when writing?
Ooh, editing is kind of an afterthought for me, but I get to it eventually.
Can you recall a time when you faced rejection or criticism as a writer or historian?
Yeah. Anytime I've submitted my work to a creative magazine, I've been rejected. But I just keep writing.
How do you stay motivated and disciplined in your writing research?
I don't really need motivation because I'm always thinking about it.
Do you have any writing projects that are particularly close to your heart?
Yes, the family history that I'm writing of my Oma and Opa.
What do you think sets your writing apart from others in the field?
Probably my underlying Christian perspective.
And how do you think your writing research contributes to your personal growth and development?
Well, when I write, I kind of encounter my secret thoughts and things that I haven't even processed yet. And my research tends to be related to my heritage and religious experience.
What do you enjoy most about sharing your writing findings with others?
I don't really enjoy sharing yet. I'm working on that.
What role do libraries or archives play in your writing process?
Not a huge role right now, but I did spend a summer in library archives that was very enjoyable. You ready for your coffee?
Yes, please. How do you think your writing research contributes to the preservation of memory and legacy?
Oh, it's all about the preservation of my memories and my legacy, I guess.
What impact do you hope your writing research will have on future generations?
I hope that they'll see Jesus in a subtle or obvious way.
Can you describe a moment when you felt deep connection to a character?
Yes, every time I read or watch Little Women, I know that I am Jo March.
How do you think your writing challenges conventional wisdom or accepted narratives?
Well, again, I think my underlying Christian perspective challenges in huge ways the way that mainstream society thinks about things.
How do you think your writing reflects the complexities and contradictions of human nature?
Well, I like my characters to be very real. I try to show both the brokenness and the creational beauty of mankind.
What do you hope your readers will come away with after reading your work?
Their need for something more than what the postmodern world offers.
Can you imagine a world without books or recorded history, and how would it differ from our own?
Oof. I don't think I want to imagine that, but I imagine in that world we would be even more confused about who we are and why we're here than we already are.
Well, that's all the questions I got for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming. Want to take your coffee to go?
Sure.
Okay. I'm
Thank
going to
you.
want this Munich beer mug back, though, okay? So
Okay, I'll be sure to be back.
Okay, see you later.
Bye.
Bye. Well, guys, that was a super fun video to film. I hope you enjoyed it. It's very kind of goofy and spontaneous and different than my usual video, but I hope you enjoyed seeing our tiny house and getting to know me a little bit better as a reader and a writer. And I will see you again next time.